كاتبه فيها اسمي، مش كاتبه اسمي عليها. مش عايزه التليجرام.
Kenapa saya semua?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم. I think I will begin now. I will not wait furthermore because I think most of you will not attend this meeting. There are only 13 students. So I will start sharing the presentation. Okay? Do you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay. I will start sharing.
Okay.
As I said before, in chemistry in general, whether carbohydrate chemistry, lipid chemistry, protein chemistry, you have to know the classification examples of each molecule or compound in this classification and the functions by name without formula. You have to know the classification, some enumerate, some example in each category of the classification and function. So chemistry is much more easier than metabolism. ILO's intended learning objectives. These are the items which we are going to discuss in this lecture. As I said before, you will only be asked from the handouts. You have to study the handout only. The book has extra diagrams to understand the subjects, has extra examples, more examples. So if you need to read the book in order to understand the explanation, discussion for any more details, okay? Lipids are organic compounds. What is the meaning of organic? Organic means molecules inside the organs of living organisms. Any organic compound contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and maybe additional elements. But this is mainly carbon and hydrogen, mainly hydrocarbons. Lipids are esters. What is the meaning of esters? I have discussed esters in carbohydrate chemistry. Ester is any chemical bond between organic acid and alcohol. Any acid and any alcohol, not necessarily organic. As I said, glucose has many alcohol groups. Carbon number 6 of glucose is an alcohol. If it is attached or linked to phosphoric acid, this is an ester bond. Ester bond between acid and alcohol. Here is the ester bond between fatty acids. I will make slideshow to use a pen. This is fatty acids, and I will show why it is an organic acid, and glycerol is an alcohol. Why fatty acid is an organic acid? It contains carboxyl group, COOH, carbon, oxygen, oxygen, hydrogen. This is the carboxyl group which specifies organic acid. Carboxyl group is unique for organic acid. What is R? R is a hydrocarbon tail. This is a fatty acid number 1. This is fatty acid number 2, tail, and a second carboxyl group due to another fatty acid. This is fatty acid number 3, third carboxyl group. And this is an alcohol. Glycerol is an alcohol. This is OH, as I said before, OH is an alcohol in organic compounds. A second alcohol group, a third alcohol group. So ester bond between any alcohol and any acid, here is a fatty acid and the alcohol is glycerol. The resulting compound is triglycerides or triacyl glycerol. Triacyl glycerol. This is the natural fat. This is the first fatty acid, R number 1. The second fatty acid, R number 2. The third fatty acid, R number 3. Of course, you are not going to be asked about the formula. This is only to understand. Most lipids are insoluble in water. Nearly all lipids are insoluble in water, but soluble in fat solvents or non-polar solvents, such as chloroform, acetone, ether, benzene. These are fat solvents. Okay? Why we study lipids? Because they have many functions in our body, biological functions or of biomedical importance. Lipids are found in our diet and they are very important because they provide us with great amount of energy, double the energy we get from glucose, more than twice the energy we get from carbohydrates. It gives us 9 kilocalories per each gram of lipids. Lipids also include fat-soluble vitamins. So fat-soluble vitamins are lipids. They are derived lipids. What are the fat-soluble vitamins? Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. All these are fat-soluble vitamins. Essential fatty acids, we are going to study them in this chapter has many biological functions in our body. We are going to discuss them. Lipids are found in our body in the plasma. They have function, the plasma lipoprotein. Adipose tissue is the storage form of energy. Phospholipids in the cell membrane, in the plasma membrane, the outer membrane of the cell, in the mitochondrial membrane, as we studied, inner membrane of the mitochondria, outer membrane of the mitochondria, all are phospholipids. So lipids plays a very important functions in the cell membrane, organelle membrane, such as mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, nuclear membrane, nucleus membrane, endoplasmic reticulum, all have biological functions in our body. Classification, you have to study the categories or the classified types of lipids and examples by name, and you have to know the function of the example. Simple lipids. Simple lipids. What's meaning of simple? They contain only fatty acids and alcohol. They are esters of fatty acids and alcohols. Natural fat, we have said them, 3 fatty acids and glycerol. We have shown this triacylglycerol in the previous slide. 3 fatty acids attached to glycerol. Waxes. Fatty acids with an alcohol but higher than glycerol. What's meaning of monohydric? It contains monohydroxyl. It contains 1 hydroxyl group. This is monohydric alcohol, but higher means high molecular weight. Glycerol has 3 hydroxyl group. So simple lipids contain natural fat and waxes. Natural fat are 3 fatty acids with glycerol. Waxes are fatty acids with high molecular weight alcohol, which contain 1 hydroxyl group. What is the meaning of compound? It has another name, conjugated lipids. Actually, any lipid should have fatty acids and alcohol, and another molecule, other than fatty acids and alcohol attached to the simple lipids. Phosphoric acid. Phosphoric acid attached to triglycerides, attached to fatty acids and glycerol. Glycolipids or glycosphingolipids. Glyco means carbohydrate, such as glycogen. Carbohydrate derivatives attached to fatty acid, and the alcohol here is sphingosine. It is not glycerol. This is another alcohol called sphingosine. The third category is derived lipids. Derived from what? Derived from hydrolysis of simple lipids or hydrolysis of compound lipids. It has another name, conjugated lipids. Or substances related to them in nature, related to them in physical and chemical properties. The first thing we are going to study is fatty acids. Fatty acids in our body are found mainly as esters. The majority of fatty acids are found as esters, conjugated with glycerol or higher molecular weight alcohol. But few proportion or few percentage are found as free fatty acid. How can I identify fatty acid? This is the formula of the fatty acid. If you look, this is a carboxyl group which specifies organic acid. Carboxyl group is also found in amino acids, which are found in proteins. Any organic acid contains carboxyl group. And this is called a hydrocarbon tail. This is a hydrocarbon tail. Contain carbon and hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen, etc. And it goes like zigzag line. If you see zigzag line, carbon attached to hydrogen. This is called CH3 is called methyl group. CH2 is called methylene group. Fatty acids have several numbers of carbon atoms, as we are going to see in the classification. It may have 2 carbon atoms, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon atom, up to 40 carbon atoms. So fatty acid has a tail. This is called the tail. The tail is termed by the symbol R. R is the hydrocarbon tail. And this is the head of the fatty acid, which is the hydroxyl group. Fatty acids may be saturated, means has no double bond, or maybe unsaturated contains one or more double bond. Again, saturated fatty acid has no double bonds. We are going to take examples such as palmitic acid. Unsaturated fatty acid contains one or more double bonds, and we are going to study examples of unsaturated fatty acids. I'm going to stop here in order to see if you are hearing me and you understand everything. Is everything clear up till now? Please answer.
Clear a bit, doctor.
Clear?
But
Is everything
you repeat for
clear?
me.
Okay.
Repeat for me fatty acid, fatty acid.
Yes, so I'm going to complete about fatty acids, okay?
Yeah,
So I'm
repeat,
going
you
to
repeat,
start,
yeah.
share again, and to unmute all of you. No.
Yeah, repeat for me fatty acid.
Participant, continue. Nomenclature. What is the meaning of nomenclature? The name or the terminology of fatty acids. If you look at the example, this is the carboxyl group. It has number 1. The second carbon atom attached next to the carboxyl group, it has number 2. The third carbon atom, number 3, etc. 4, 5, 6, I may have up to 39, 40 carbon atoms. So carboxyl group has number 1. There is another classification. Other scientists suggest that we do not count the carboxyl group, but we count the carbon atom which is the first neighbor next to the carboxyl. The carbon atom which is the first neighbor or next to the carboxyl termed alpha. The second carbon atom beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. So there are several nomenclature or naming to give name for the carbon atom. And we will understand why we give them numbers or names. Again, carboxyl group has number 1. The second carbon is number 2, then number 3. If we neglect, we do not count the carboxyl group, we don't give it any number, so the next carbon atom is either beta, the next one alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. If you go to the another diagram which is at the right, we have another count. We don't count the carboxyl. We count the methyl group which is found at the left side. The methyl group which is found on the left side is termed omega. This is omega, omega number 1. This is omega number 2, omega number 3, omega number 4. So we may count from the right side, from the side of carboxyl, or we may count the carbon atom from the left side, from the side of methyl group. The carbon atom which comes from the methyl group is termed omega carbon, okay? This is very important because we are going to specify the site or where the double bond resides. How can we have made classification of lipids, but here we will classify fatty acids. Fatty acids are derivatives from lipids. They are derived lipids because lipids are not only fatty acids. Lipids are fatty acids linked to alcohol by covalent bond. If we hydrolyze lipids, which are natural fat, we get derivatives from hydrolysis. The first derivative is fatty acids. The second derivative is alcohol, which may be glycerol. So we have classification for the lipids or the fats, and we have another classification for the fatty acids. We classify according to the presence of the double bond. Double bond means unsaturated carbon atom. If we don't have any double bond, the fatty acid is termed SFA. What is SFA? Saturated fatty acid. And this fatty acid had a general formula. Any fatty acid is not branched. There is no branched fatty acid. If you find an organic acid which is branched, this is not a fatty acid. This is an organic acid. So fatty acid have a straight chain. It should have carboxyl group. Another unique feature, one carboxyl group only. One carboxyl group only, because in amino acids you will have two carboxyl group. As you see in citric acid, you have 3 carboxyl group, but in fatty acids, only 1 carboxyl group. If you find organic acids which has 2 or 3 carboxyl, this is not fatty acid. Fatty acid has 1 carboxyl group. Fatty acid is a straight chain unbranched. From the other side, we have methyl group. And then we have a number of methylene group linked by covalent bond or hydrogen bond. CH2 methylene, number N. This N may be 1 methylene group. N may be 2 methylene group attached together. 3 methylene group attached to each other. Okay? We may have 9 methylene group. So the fatty acid has different chain lengths, different number of carbon atoms. According to the chain or the number of carbon atom, we classified fatty acid into short chain, which has 2 carbon atom up to 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have to know at least one example, acetic acid. Medium chain fatty acid has number of carbon atom from 8 to 10. It have 8 carbon atoms, 9, 10. The example is capric acid. Long chain fatty acid from 12 up to 22, such as palmitic. I don't know why these blue lines appear. Very long chain, 24 carbon atom, more than 24 carbon atoms, such as lignoceric acid. Again, short chain, medium chain, long chain, very long chain. You have to know examples and how long. Short chain from 2 to 6 carbon atom, medium chain from 8 to 10, long chain from 12 to 20, very long chain more than 24 carbon atom. Why saturated fatty acids are important? The most important fatty acid in our body is palmitic and stearic because they are found in the cell membrane. As you see, the inner mitochondrial membrane formed of 2 layers of phospholipids. These are lipids which contain fatty acid. More than 95% of fatty acids in the cell membrane, in the mitochondrial membrane, in the nucleus membrane is palmitic and stearic. The commonest fatty acid in our body is palmitic. Where we can find saturated fatty acids? Saturated fatty acids are found mainly in the animal fat, such as the whole milk, the butter, cheese, dairy products which are derived from milk, fatty meat, the fat which is present in the red meat, cream. So any fat derived from animal sources contains saturated fatty acid. The majority of lipids which are found in plants are unsaturated fatty acids. Again, saturated fatty acid do not contain double bond. But there are exceptions. Some vegetable oils contain saturated fatty acid, and this is very small percentage of the plant oils, such as coconut oil and palm oil. Again, saturated fatty acids are mainly in the animal sources. Animal fat, such as the fat present in the meat or the milk, derivatives of milk, dairy products, the butter is derived from milk, okay? Very few vegetable or plant sources contain saturated fats, such as coconut oil and palm oil. Unsaturated fatty acid. Unsaturated fatty acid, they are classified according to the number of double bonds. Unsaturated may have 1 or more double bonds. The unsaturated fatty acid may have 1 double bond. If you look here, there is 1 double bond. This is bond and this is bond. What are these? This is a hydrocarbon methylene. What is this? This is a hydrocarbon methylene. This is hydrocarbon methylene. If you look at the benzene ring, it's written like that. The ring of the benzene. Benzene ring is written like that. We don't write carbon and hydrogen in organic chemistry. This is benzene. Every carbon in the benzene ring is hydrocarbon, CH. Here is every carbon, CH2, CH2. Here is CH because there is double bond, CH2. Here is CH. Here is CH3. So we have one double bond. There is another type of double bond which is called cis double bond. Of course, we don't study formula, so you don't have to know the difference between cis and trans double bond as regard the molecular formula. But you have to know the difference in the function, the difference in the significance. Most fatty acids in our body are cis because trans are dangerous. Trans fatty acids are hazardous. They are serious, cause injury to the human body. We are going to go outside the Zoom meeting within 10 minutes. Then we leave the meeting and we enter again. Unsaturated fatty acids, which contains trans double bonds, are called USFA, unsaturated fatty acid, are solid at room temperature. But unsaturated fatty acid which contain cis double bond are liquid at room temperature. Okay? If you look at the formula of the polyunsaturated fatty acid, poly, we get P. Unsaturated, we get U. Fatty acid, FA. PUFA. P, poly, means multiple. U, unsaturated. F, fatty, A, acid. Polyunsaturated fatty acid. If you look, this is a double bond, CH, double bond CH, and interrupted by methylene. CH, double bond CH, and interrupted by methylene. CH, double bond CH, interrupted by methylene, etc. Okay? مش عارفة ده إيه؟ حاجة غريبة. Trans fatty acids have hazards. They are dangerous to the human body because they make competition with the essential fatty acids. We are going to study essential fatty acids and to know their functions. Essential fatty acid has important biological functions in our body. They enter in the structure of the cell membrane and they enter in the synthesis of other important compounds called eicosanoids. We are going to discuss them next lecture. Trans fatty acid make compete with essential fatty acid, so they increase any disease called essential fatty acid deficiency. If there is deficiency of essential fatty acid in our diet, this leads to certain diseases and certain symptoms. So if we are exposed in the diet to trans fatty acids, this is unusual. Trans fatty acids should not be present in the diet because they are hazardous, they cause injury to the human body. This may lead to essential fatty acid deficiency because they compete with the use of essential fatty acid in our body. Moreover, trans fatty acid lead to hypercholesterolemia, increased blood cholesterol level, and this lead to thrombosis and atherosclerosis. I will stop here to ask you if everything is clear. Again, we have to know that cis is the fatty acid present in our body. PUFA means polyunsaturated fatty acid. Trans is unusual fatty acid. It is not present in our diet. It is not present in our body. If it is present, it will be serious. It may cause cancer. It may cause cancer, malignant tumors. So this is serious, okay? Moreover, trans fatty acid makes compete with essential fatty acid and lead to a disease called essential fatty acid deficiency. Trans fatty acid lead to hypercholesterolemia and atherosclerosis, okay? We will begin with cis fatty acid because this is the natural fatty acid present in our body. Cis fatty acids are classified into mono. Mono means one. En means double bond. Enoic means similar to acids. Actually, it is fatty acid which has one double bond. Poly means multiple. En means double bond. Okay? Polyenoic acid contain more than one double bond, may have two double bond, 3, 4, 5 double bonds. Term it poly, we take capital P. Unsaturated, we get capital U. Fatty acid, FA. Term it PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acid. This example you have to study and memorize without the formula. You have to memorize. Of course, it looks somewhat difficult, but I can divide them across 3 days, so I can study and memorize all these fatty acids. Mono means one. One what? One double bond in. Oleic, the most famous, oleic. Omega-9, what's omega-9? Omega means if you count the carbon atom from this side, from the side of methyl, this is the omega carbon. This is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The double bond will be present between carbon number 9 and carbon number 10. This is omega-9. If you look at palmitoleic, omega-7. If you count carbon atom from the left side, from the methyl group, so the double bond will be present between carbon number 7, carbon number 8. You don't have to know Nirvanic. It's enough to know oleic and palmitoleic, okay? Any letter which is written in italic, don't study them. So don't study Nirvanic. We study only palmitoleic and oleic because these are common in our diet. Nirvanic is not present in our diet. It's enough to study oleic, palmitoleic. What is 16? What's 18? 18 carbon atom. Here is fatty acid which have 16 carbon atom. I will stop share and mute all. Is everything clear or the internet interrupted? Is everything clear? Do you hear me good? Do you hear me perfectly?
Clear.
Is it clear or not clear?
Yeah.
We are going to go outside the meeting. We are going to leave the meeting now and to go again. We are going to leave the meeting now. Within 3 minutes, we will going outside the meeting, okay? And then to enter the room again. The meeting will stop within 3 minutes.
Doctor, I have a question.
Polyenoic.
I have a question.
يا بابا الصوت لسه؟ ايه الحكاية؟ عملت ميوت اول ميوت اول. Any word which is written in italic, don't study it. Oleic has 18 carbon atom, palmitoleic 16 carbon atom. Polyenoic. Poly means multiple. En means double bond. PUFA means polyunsaturated fatty acid. You have to study alpha-linolenic and timnodonic. Alpha-linolenic, omega-3. What's meaning omega-3? If you look here, this is a methyl group, carbon number 1, omega-1. This is carbon number 2, omega-2. This is carbon number 3. Double bond is here between carbon number 3 and carbon number 4. Okay? Timnodonic, omega-3. If you look at timnodonic, this is carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3, and double bond between carbon number 3 and 4. The difference in the carbon atom. Linolenic has 18 carbon atom, timnodonic 20 carbon atom. Alpha-linolenic has 3 double bond, timnodonic has 5 double bond. Okay? I will stop here and re-enter again the room because the room will stop here. Okay, we are going now less than 1 minute to go outside the Zoom meeting, and then we will re-enter the Zoom meeting again. The remaining will be small amount, little, we have free small amount of time, little time, okay, in order to finish. Do you hear me? Please, do you hear me?
Yes, doctor, I can hear you.
What is the problem?
We hear you.
The internet is interrupted with you. I'm going to leave the room and re-enter again, okay?
No, we're hearing. We are hearing. Fine. Hmm?